Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the For the Culture podcast, a podcast about current events from a Black perspective. I'm your host, Jay Steele. Let's get into it. To start the news off this week, it's been about a week and a half ago since this happened, but unfortunately we had another untimely death by another police officer. This time the victim was 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. Man, I don't know how many times I can read these. As a father, I don't know how many times I can read these headlines or see it on the news. This one, I saw it. I saw the memes. You know what I'm saying? I put some positive vibes out to the family, but I really couldn't look into it. I can't see it no more. 15-year-old young black male. Like, I got a 16-year-old daughter. I got a 21-year-old daughter, and I got a 11-year-old daughter. Like, I can't be seeing this type of stuff on a regular basis, day in and day out. It makes me feel some type of way because I don't know how I would react in a situation like that. Outside of being like sad and all that, but like I really think it would be something violent, like, you know what I'm saying, blood, eye for an eye type shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not something I really want to think about. I just had to do what I had to do when that time comes. I'll be on some time to kill type shit. You know what I'm saying? Be in the courthouse with a motherfucking shotgun. That's how my mind works. But anyway, let's go and get into this. So, the officer, surprisingly in this situation, has been fired from the police station. We don't see that very much. On Saturday night, a high schooler, Jordan Edwards, was leaving a party in a suburb of Dallas. Cops were just arriving at the scene after neighbors complained about drunken young people. Edwards was in a car that police originally stated was driven aggressively towards them. Officer Roy Oliver. That's right. That's the cop killer's name. The killing cop name, Roy Oliver, opened fire on the vehicle, shooting Edwards in the head. He died soon after the hospital. The New York Times reported on Monday, Police Chief John Harbour admitted that video footage from the body cameras revealed that the car had actually been pulling away from the police when the shots were fired. So that's saying, so now the cop, when he took the police report, he said, I shot at them for my life. They were driving at me, and so I had to shoot them. I feared for my life. Well, the body cameras, they actually had them on. He didn't cut it off. Actually showed the complete opposite. The kids were driving away, and he was like, fuck it, I ain't chasing y'all. I'm gonna shoot y'all. An attorney representing the Edwards family told the New York Times that Harbour revealed was deeply significant to the case. There were no weapons involved. There was no aggressive behavior. These were not suspects. The lone motive they had for the murder was that the vehicle was being used as a weapon, and now that is no longer there because of the video footage. They got to deal with the death. I mean, that's sad, man. It's good to see the Dallas police officers went ahead and closed that situation real quick instead of having it long drawn out. Was he fitting for his life or whatnot, especially after what happened last year in Dallas. I don't know if that could play a part or not. You know what I'm saying? With the police killing, like that. I think it was 8 police officers last year that got killed in Dallas. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, right? Where they were so quick to pull the trigger, because they could have hid the video footage, but they didn't. So there has to be a reason for that. But I'm happy to hear thus far that it looks like they're trying to do the right thing. Now, will it be tried? We'll see. Gotta go to the next level. All right. In other news, this one right here was kind of crazy. A lot of news in the hip hop world over FunkMaster Flex. If you don't know, FunkMaster Flex is the legendary DJ in New York on Hot 97 radio station, which was the first 24-hour hip hop station in the country. And it was in New York. And he's been around for a long time. He made some comments on the air that said Notorious B.I.G. wouldn't have died if Tupac didn't lie about the Quad Studio shooting. This shit real crazy. Now I don't know. Just looking at the article from up front, it's like now there's a Tupac movie biopic that's coming out in a month. Is this to boost up the ratings, to boost up the people talking about Tupac? This makes no fucking sense why this shit would come up 20 some odd years later, right? But here goes the article. FunkMaster Flex has continued to catch flack over comments he made about the 1994 Quad Studio shooting involving Tupac Shakur. In another Instagram Live video, Funk Flex has added a layer of clarity to his claim that Tupac accidentally shot himself during the infamous Quad Studio incident. In the clip that lasts well over 40 minutes, the radio personality offered some insight into why he spoke ill of Pac more than 20 years after his death. At 7 points in the video, Flex explained that the only issue with the rapper was the fact that he blamed Biggie for the Quad Studio shooting. This quote from FunkMaster Flex. I know people take this as we shouldn't say anything bad, disrespectful about the dead, end quote. Another quote, and I'm on that page, all right, but you know B.I.G. died also. With Pac, his contribution to the game is second to none. From his lyrics, the amount of people he inspired, I mean, I loved him before Death Row. This is my pet peeve, is that Biggie did not set him up in the studio that night to get robbed. This is only my issue. I ain't gonna go on to continue to read the rest, but he ended up crying and shit on an Instagram Live video. I saw it on YouTube. To get it, well, immediately T.I. got at his ass. He was like, "Look at here, bro. Like, this is too late for you to be talking about that shit. Like, that ain't respecting the G code. We don't do that. You respect the dead and you keep it moving. You don't bring that shit up after he died. You could have. Tupac died in '96. The shooting happened in '94. That's 2 years you could have said this shit. For 2 years, Pac was letting it be known, in his opinion, which is based up by some facts. I'll get into that in a second. That Biggie wasn't necessarily involved. Pac never said he was involved, but that Biggie knew who did it. Okay, so it's funny that this before Funk Flex even did this. You know, the Tupac movie's coming up, and it was in my spirit, I guess, to listen to some old Pac and check out some old interviews. At the time of Pac's death, I was 16. We didn't have the wave of information that we have now with the AOL, the dial-up. My pops wouldn't let me get on that hip hop shit. That's even if there was a hip hop blog site. I don't even know at that time. But anyway, Pac died, so I didn't know. You read the magazines, and we know that the magazines had already beefed it up to make it seem like it was an East Coast, West Coast situation when it really wasn't. So I go back and I've been listening to some Tupac interviews that he was doing at the time. He never said nothing about no East Coast, West Coast. He never said nothing about nobody from the East Coast unless they was, except when he got shot and nobody came to his rescue. And when I'm saying rescue, I'm not talking about like coming to shoot at whoever, but like coming to holler at him in the hospital when he was in jail, coming to see about him. You know what I'm saying? They was on the radio talking about something we fuck with Pac, but they really wasn't going to see him. That was his issue with Biggie. See, him and Biggie, they go way back. Pac would put Biggie on a stage before Biggie was really known, even in New York. Pac, before Death Row, Pac was on tour. This is poetic justice, pre-poetic justice. This is like Juice, his first 2 albums, Tupacalypse Now, and I can't think of the other album name. But he was touring in New York, and he had ran across Biggie. He said, "Man, why don't you? Man, you got flow, you got style." Well, he didn't say you got style. He said you got flow. Why don't you go ahead and open up for me? So they became cool, and he was hipping Biggie to the game, to the rap game or whatnot. So they was cool, sleeping on his couch, popping bottles or whatever. This is all on Tupac because nobody knows who Biggie is yet. Biggie does not have a deal yet. He's just rhyming on the corners of New York or Brooklyn and whatnot, getting around the city a little bit. And so when it went down in '94 and Tupac got shot, he knew from words on the street, from like his people, that Biggie knew who it was. He wasn't asking for Biggie to go to the police. He was just like, let me know who it is. You know what I'm saying? So when Pac found out who it was and saw that this is like months later, saw that Biggie was still kicking it with the dude. He was like, oh, okay, it's like that. So that's when it went to war. It's a lot more details into the story. I'll give you exclusive. I ain't exclusive 'cause I ain't done nothing but just look into it. Tupac did an interview with Sway, um, MTV Sway in the morning on Sirius Radio. Sway, he did an interview with him like around 95, maybe early 96. In the interview, he told Sway to turn the cameras off, and so he could go ahead and give him the real scoop. And so he did that, but Sway didn't turn off the cameras. I mean, he didn't turn off the audio. So you can look it up on YouTube and hear the whole story from A to B why Pac was upset with Biggie. Not because he blamed Biggie. He didn't think that Biggie set him up. He also didn't think that Biggie had anything to do with it at all. He had an issue with the fact that you know the dude that killed me, that shot at me, that tried to kill me, and you said nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that is what it is. I do find it weird again that Funk Flex is even bringing this up 20 years later. That's crazy. Except the only thing that makes sense to me, man, like you start putting two and two together, is it for sale? Did he get a check from the movie company saying, hey, you know what I'm saying, bring up, say whatever, spark this up so we can, because the movie's about to drop here in a few. Moving on. This one right here, this story right here is fucked up, man. I don't know if you've seen the headlines, but Flint, Michigan, 3 years ago what the water situation. If you don't know, the water's still fucked up right now, right? Well, more than 8,000 residents have received notices of tax liens on their properties for unpaid water bills. So your water's fucked up. You just say, I'm not paying that shit. And the city is like, man, we want to take your crib. So here it goes. Here's your regular reminder that the residents of Flint, Michigan have not had clean water for just over 3 years. Unfortunately, they are still expected to pay water bills for the water that is neither drinkable nor usable, and on the heels of last month's shut-off for non-payment of said water bills. This shit crazy. I mean, this shit crazy, man. Like, the water's fucked up, and then you gonna tax me for not paying for it. Now, I can hope that this is an error. They really need to put together a class action lawsuit, everybody in town, find a good lawyer, and put that together. That's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? There's no way, if you're listening to this now, there's no way that you would have paid that. Like, I'm not paying for something that's poisonous. I have to pay for the poisonous water. We're already talking about impoverished neighborhoods. Now you're going to take my property? And most of these properties, you got to think about it. The tax liens are some of which might be like properties that were passed down from like their grandparents, right? And so you don't got a house note. Now you just going to take the whole damn thing from me? Shit foul, shit fucked up. And don't forget about Flint. In other news, about a week and a half ago, maybe might have been 2 weeks ago, there was a movie that came out. Kind of big ups to Oprah. I know she gets a lot of flack from a lot of people in the community and in our culture for, say, not doing enough. Now, I don't know what enough is for some people. Me, myself, I am a do for self type person. Save yourself. And if you happen to lend me a hand, I'm going to take that shit and make the shit pop, right? But a lot of people just, fuck with her, say she don't do enough. Well, her network is popping. They got some of the, some of the shows, some of the Tyler Perry shows or whatnot. I personally don't partake in. I don't mess with none of them just because it's a little soap opera to me. But there's a couple of other shows that I do fool with. The show Queen Sugar, I fool with that one tough. My wife and her family are, she's a preacher's kid. So being married to her, I've been around the church life a little bit. So, the show Greenleaf is very interesting because I see a lot of resemblance to what I've experienced, being in the church with her, for the particular time that I did live that lifestyle. So I rock with Greenleaf. Ayana Van Zandt got a show on there. I can't think what it is right now, but I watch every Saturday. It's a great show. I personally believe that we all need self-help in areas. If you've been on this earth for 5 years, you can experience a lot of traumatic events, let alone 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And we can kind of put those in a little category and not mess with them, lock them up. But they show out in other areas of our life. Um, I know in our community and our culture, we think of going to go talk to somebody, go talk to a psychiatrist or a life coach is crazy. We think we're too strong for that shit. Um, I get it. I understand where that thought process comes from. I don't subscribe to it, but I understand where that comes from. But watching a show is like going to spend, $120 an hour. If you're not watching it for, it's Fix My Life by Ayana Van Zandt. If you're watching the show trying to get something out of it instead of entertainment value, like putting yourself in the shoes of the individuals that are seeking help, you'll learn a lot about yourself. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about how to treat people, like my wife in general, especially. But anyway, so getting back to Oprah, that's another good show. So, well, Oprah took it to another level and made a movie, put it on HBO about Henrietta Lacks. Let's see. Let me tell you what the movie is called real quick. It was based off of a book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. It was a book. HBO in 2010 announced that Oprah and somebody else, based off of that book, were going to do the film with Winfrey in the leading role of Deborah Lacks. Deborah was Henrietta's daughter. Now, all black people should know who Henrietta Lacks is. Now, I know there's a good chance that you don't, and that's the reason why. The reason why is because we don't control the information that is given to us as kids, as far as in the public school system. We allow our children to go to a school system to where we say that everybody's normal, everybody's not, excuse the word normal, that everybody's equal. And so when we hear other people's, other cultures, other communities' history, we take that as ours. And we have our own set of history that is very important for us to know. If it wasn't for Henrietta Lacks herself has changed medical research. Her cancer cells were the source of the HeLa cell line. That's the first immortalized cell line. Is one of the most important cell lines in medical research. An immortalized cell line will reproduce indefinitely under specific conditions. And the HeLa cell line continues to be a source of invaluable medical data to this present day. Now, let's not act like she went in there and she was like a nurse and she would give blood and let's work on yours. No, she went in there for some other shit and they took her shit. Let's go. Let me find the story just so I can give it. I understand it, but let me go to you. All right. In January 29, 1951, Henrietta Lacks went to Johns Hopkins, the only hospital in the area that treated black patients, because she felt a knot in her womb. So she felt sick. She went to the hospital. She had previously told her cousins about the knot, and they assumed correctly that she was pregnant. But after giving birth, Lacks had a severe hemorrhage. Her primary care doctor tested her for syphilis, which came back negative, and referred her back to Johns Hopkins. There, her doctor, Howard Jones, took a biopsy of the mass of Lacks' cervix for laboratory testing. Soon after, Lacks was told that she had a epidermal, some fucked up shit of her cervix. In 1970, physicians discovered that she had been misdiagnosed and actually had an shit. Well, I don't know how to pronounce that shit. I'm not gonna fuck it up. Adenocarcinoma, some shit like that. This was a common mistake at the time, and the treatment would not have differed. Lacks was treated with radium tube inserts as an inpatient and discharged a few days later when the instructions to return for x-rays and treatments as a follow-up. During her treatments, 2 samples were taken from Lacks' cervix without her permission or knowledge. One sample was the healthy tissue and the other was cancerous. These samples were given to George Otto Gay, a physician and cancer researcher at Johns Hopkins. The cells were from the cancerous sample eventually became known as the HeLa immortal cell line, a commonly used cell line in contemporary biomedical research. They took our queen's shit, okay, without asking her. They have mass produced it. You hear me? They have mass produced this cell. They put the shit in medicine and everything. Uh, they do gene mapping. Um, they've used the HeLa cells in the research to develop the polio vaccine. I mean, when you do your research on this shit, man, it's crazy. And what's even crazy about it that the fact that they stole our queen shit just like they still just okay. Let me rephrase because I don't want to do the just like they and then it's like all white people or all people of another culture, another race or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying greedy motherfuckers take our shit and they map it up and put it together like it's theirs. You know what I'm saying? Or like they found some shit when really they stole it out of our queen. They took it, they have mass produced it, and then changed the fucking name. She didn't even get credit after her death. They ain't called it the Henrietta Lacks, they just said the HeLa. Which I get it when you understand, but if you didn't know her name was Henrietta Lacks, it don't make no fucking sense. So anyway, there's a movie about it. Oprah did that. I highly suggest everyone watch it if you have HBO. With your youngins too, with the youth. They need to know these stories. Cause we sit around and act like everything's cool. Cause we can get on a bus. We act like with everybody. We can sit up front. You know what I'm saying? Because we can apply for the same jobs. You feel me? And act like that there wasn't some history that we need to know and remember. Because if you don't remember your history, the shit will repeat itself and you won't stop it. So shout outs to Oprah for putting the story on the screen for us to see. All right. And I'm gonna knock out this last storyline. Uh I fucks with it tough, to be completely honest. So we've had this Lonzo Ball. He's a 20-year-old freshman that played one season at the UCLA. He decided to go pro after his freshman year, which is by the rules of the NBA. That's completely fine. He's projected to be a top 3 pick. Nothing new under the sun with this kid, as far as like what you see year in and year out from college basketball to the pros, with football or with basketball. You know, very talented athlete. The next step is go to the pros. The difference with Lonzo is, in his case, he has a very brash, outspoken father by the name of Lavar Ball. He has 2 brothers. Both of them will be going to UCLA. One will be in UCLA. Will be playing for the Bruins this fall. Another, I think, is like a year or 2 away, but they all got scholarships already to UCLA. The dad worked that deal out on the big son, on Lonzo. Like, look here, you can sign Lonzo, but even though one of my sons in junior high and the other one's in high school, you need to go ahead and give them a scholarship too. Or you get all 3, you get none. I fucks with that tough, just like the family unit and using your leverage to get your family where it needs to go. So anyway, fast forward, Lonzo's going. LaVar made a comment that, mind you, and I keep up with sports a little bit, but he was not a household name up until like shit. I want to say, man, maybe late February, early March, and LaVar made a comment to TMZ saying that his son Lonzo, the one who was playing at UCLA at the time, was going to be better than Steph Curry. And that shit went viral. And next thing you know, he's on ESPN. They're interviewing LaVar. They're not interviewing the son. They're interviewing LaVar. Like what? And then LaVar starts talking about something how he could beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1 and shit. And you know, at first it was just real funny, but then they started giving him the shits on the net, on social media, just like fucking with him because he was just brash and loud, outspoken. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that our young athletes don't have fathers. Obviously they have fathers. We do hear a lot of the stories of them coming from single family homes, you know, specifically single family raised by the mother homes and getting to the league. But we we all know that Michael Jordan's pops was around. Okay, Michael Jordan's dad died, and that's when Michael Jordan decided, like, I can't play for the game like this anymore. You know what I'm saying? And then he retired. Then he ended up eventually coming back. But we just haven't seen a man like a LaVar. Like, they're super confident, in himself and his child. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I have a daughter. I have 3 daughters. One of which is a pretty good singer. I got to give it to her. She's nice on the microphone. And I would critique her ass. She comes from a music family. My wife is a singer. Her auntie, which is my sister, was a singer. I was a musician. So we know music, and I understand how it's supposed to go, how it's supposed to sound. I'm going to critique you. I don't give a fuck about you me just telling you good just to make you smile, make you feel good about yourself. I want to give you the truth because this world will not give you the truth. So somebody needs to. So I'm not hard on her, but I definitely let her know the truth. There ain't no fucking way I'm gonna tell her that somebody else is better than me. Nobody. I don't give a fuck. You name it. I'm not gonna instill that in my daughter that she thinks there's a ceiling for her because Beyonce can sing real good and Beyonce's the ceiling. No, the fuck she's not. Because before Beyonce, Tina Turner was the fucking ceiling. Or fucking shit, I don't know. Like, Whitney Houston was the ceiling, right? Like, there's a ceiling, but there's also the sky, which is higher than the ceiling. So I'm not. Now, what I will tell them is, like, you definitely could be better. You can outwork her. You know what I'm saying? Nah, she nice, but I know if you put in enough practice, you'll be able to do that with ease. You know what I'm saying? But you're not gonna hear me say that she better than me, that Beyonce better than my daughter. I'm not doing that shit. Now, I'm probably not gonna get on like TV and say that shit neither. But when LaVar said that shit, he wasn't on like national. He wasn't on no national TV show. He just said to TMZ. He thought it was just like a one-on-one. He didn't know it was gonna go crazy like that, go viral like that. So from that aspect, I have to say that. So boom, he also has his own brand. First time we've seen any of this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's called the Big Baller brand. The dad, when he's going on these interviews, he's wearing his own shit, which makes sense. Now, he could be rocking some Calvin Klein or some motherfucking polo, but he says, I make the shit hot. The shit ain't hot without me. So he's like, I'm wearing my own shit. You know what I'm saying? And he was very outspoken about how he wanted his children to be the first $1 billion athletes signing a deal. He wanted, just like he got his sons all to go to UCLA, he wanted to sign all 3 of his sons when that time comes to Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, whoever, you know what I'm saying, for like $1 billion. And everybody laughed at him, you know what I'm saying? And so boom, you know what I'm saying? He was, and his clothes are highly priced. His t-shirts at the time were like $50 for a t-shirt or whatever. I don't know who's buying them, but so move forward. College basketball season's over with. It's time to prep for the pros. Lonzo's talking a little more about just like, you know what I'm saying, like how he likes to prove himself on the court. He lets his dad do the talking, and that it don't bother him none because his dad's always been like that since day one. And he got him this far, so he's gonna trust in his dad to continue to take him farther. Now, by this time, everybody's coming at Zoe like, you need to get your dad out the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, he need to go to a whole nother corner. He gonna fuck your money up. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to rock with him. Go get you somebody else. Like, get some new friends type shit. And Zoe like, man, this is my pop. Like, he the one. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this shit at all. Like, on the level I'm doing it. So, real loyal dude. You know what I'm saying? And Charles Barkley has some things to say. Shaq has some things to say. Like, people have been fucking with him or whatever. But anyway, so he moved on, like, in a negative way. Let me say that, in a negative way. So, boom. Less than a week ago, LaVar goes and meets with Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Under Armour. Like, hey, I want to do a joint venture, a 50-50 deal. The details might not have been 50-50, but a deal that had never been done before. See, what happens is you come out of high school, you go to college, you leave college, you go to the NBA, and you get a deal, like, think of the music business. Somebody signs you, and they give you a lump sum, and then they package a brand around you, right? And they sell a pair of shoes for $100, $120 that only cost them $7. You don't get unlike record contracts, you don't get a piece of the pie of everyone that is sold. You just get that $1 million contract. It might be, let's say, a $6 million deal for 3 years. So for every year, you get $2 million from Nike, and all you do is wear their shit and rep their brand. And more than likely, you might not even have a say in the design of the fucking shoe that you're gonna have to wear. There's a possibility that they just do it, give it to you, and you can give some feedback, but they might listen to you, they might not. You know what I'm saying? So, um, LaVar sits with Nike and all them and says, hey, let's do a venture deal, 50-50. I want to have creative control, for my son's shoe, and, we'll split the profits, however. They all turn them down. Now, the media is making it seem like they all turn them down because, the dad is quote unquote an asshole, just loud now. That's possible, you know what I'm saying? But we all know in the corporate rooms, in the boardrooms, it's all about dollars. They done dealt with assholes before, straight up. Most agents are fucking assholes. So this ain't like, I'm not buying that part a whole lot, maybe 15% for me. But what I am buying is the reason why they don't want to get involved in that shit is because we're talking about changing the game. And if you think back in the history books, Master P did the same exact thing in music. Pre 1994, 1995, it was the same. You get signed, boom, 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 boom. The label gives you some money, and you get a couple pennies off of each record sold. Master P came along and said, fuck that. I'll do all the marketing and everything. I just need you to distribute. Get my album in the record store. Get it into Best Buy. Get it into, Walmart. Get into whoever was selling records. Do that. I'll do the rest. I'll do the advertising. I'll shoot my own videos, all that. And so they laughed at him and they allowed him to do it. And that deal was an 80-20 deal where Master P got to keep, if the album was $10, even though back at the time, CDs were like 20, Master P kept $8. They kept $2. Changed the whole fucking game in the music industry to how we see now, where everybody, a lot of people are independent or they have their own boutique brand, label, and kind of work like that, whatever. But the same thing will be done in the shoe industry. Now, let me say this. LaVar Ball came out, they all told him no, that they weren't interested. So the very same day that they all told him no, he already had it planned out for a release of his own sneaker. Had the promo video and everything. Came out literally an hour after I got the alert from the ESPN app. Lonzo Ball got the Zo 2s coming out in the fall. The price at $450, $500, $495. Shoe looks alright. I give it like 8.5 out of 10. Pretty good looking shoe. High price point. I gotta agree. I can't, especially when you're used to spending, $150 on some J's or something like that. Not that I do that shit, but $500 for some shoes is a lot of money. I mean, that's a special niche audience that's going to spend that. Like your barely making it, middle class, lower middle class, the poverty line, they're not buying those. They're straight up. They're going to laugh at the price point, and I get it. Your middle class up, maybe. Obviously, your high class, wealthy people, they could afford it. I'm not saying if a person should or shouldn't buy them, and that I'm not saying that they're worth they worth 500 or not. Motherfuckers be spending $150 on Gucci belts, and fucking women, you ladies, I love you queens. Y'all drop 200, 225 on a purse. So I'm not one to say motherfuckers will put $200 in their fucking, into some subwoofers. You feel me? Like, the motherfuckers spend their money on in my personal opinion, on some things that could be called bullshit. It all depends on the person and what they like and what they like and what their taste is. So I'm not knocking if a person does. But what I'm definitely bigging up is the idea. Now, let's say Zo don't make it. Let's say he does all right. If he sells 5,000 shoes, 5,000, that's $2.5 million. That right there is probably bigger than the deal he would have got just signing, like, y'all can do whatever, y'all can design the shoe and everything. and everything. Just 5,000 shoes. You know what I'm saying? If he steps on the court and does a decent job, he'll definitely sell that. The first day, he sold like 15. No, it wasn't 1,500. It was 1,500. Shit, it might have been like 1,500 the first day or some shit like that. So no, he made 15,000 the first day. So whatever the math is on that. So that's what, like 100 shoes, a little bit over 100. No, that's 5,000. No, that's like 300 shoes. My bad. He sold like 300 shoes the first day. So it's possible. And mind you, they don't even come out. You can pre-order them right now. You still ain't gonna get them till November. So just imagine when the season starts, the summer leagues start, and if he starts balling, he'll be able to get to 5,000. But I'm fucking with the idea that we in the culture can see with our own eyes some shit, and by now our kids can say that's obtainable, right? Now our adults, our parents that are going to the little league games, and we do this shit ourselves anyway. We just don't monetize it. We go to our little league game. We didn't design the fucking shirt. Went to the local guy and designed the shirt. Shit, fresh to death. People in the other family members that don't even go to the sporting event like, oh, let me get one of those. You know what I'm saying? Now we can understand and see and have a model in front of us that, hey man, we can take this shit to the next level. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to get the fucking deal just because Nike gives me $1 million. If Nike is willing to give you $1 million, somebody that they don't know, somebody that they just had an interview with once or twice and seen you on the fucking TV playing, then that must mean you worth tens of millions to them. Think about that. Ain't nobody gonna just give you $1 million. Ain't nobody gonna just give you $1,000 unless they gonna make 10,000 off it, 3,000 off it, unless they're gonna double their money. Think about that shit. So before you laugh at an idea, motherfuckers laughed at Kanye West when he said he wanted to do more than produce, and he kicked the motherfucking door down. Motherfuckers laughed at P when he went to the label and said, I want to do this 80-20 split. They're like, man, this is bullshit. All right, we'll get you putting up all the money? We'll take your little money. Priority Records wanted to renegotiate, right? Bet on yourself. That's the motto. You know what I'm saying? Bet on yourself. Save yourself. Fuck a handout. You can do this. Believe in yourself. Believe in your team. You know what I'm saying? Believe in a higher power, right? Something bigger than you. Something got you. Believe in your ancestors. They fucking with you. They watching you. They looking out. They opening doors, but you got to walk in them. You feel me? So with that being said, I appreciate you for tuning in. This is only the second episode, and it's a little dry. I'm still kind of getting my feet wet. They're only going to get better, though. So keep rocking with your boy. And I'm going to keep giving you these weekly updates on what's going on from our perspective. Word. Now, the next thing I'm going to give you is, some independent love on the music tip. Got a new artist, Shamyra. She did this remix to Drake's Blem. I think it's dope. I think you will too. Until the next time, peace, love, infinite life. One.
Bringing more, I've got too many. This Virginia done me off already. I'm Blem for real, I might just say how I feel. I'm Blem for real, I might just say how I feel. Don't switch on me, I've got big plans. We need to forward to the islands, come get me gold, no spray tan. I need you to stop running back to your ex, she's a dead man. I wanna know, how come we can never slash and stay friends? I'm Blem for real, I might just say how I feel. I'm Blem for real, I might just say how I feel. Cause I know what I like, I know how I wanna live my life. I don't need no advice, cause you're not here and we both know I saw. Move for me when you're extra. Move for me with the past house where they raised me. You move with me and I'll go crazy. Don't switch on me, I've got big plans. We need to forward to the islands. Come get me, go, no spray tan. I need you to stop running back to your ex, she's a dead man. I wanna know how come we can never slash and stay friends. I'm Blem for real, I might just say how I feel. I'm Blem for real, I might just say how I feel. I know we can keep it together forever. And you're crazy sometimes, and I only see you sometimes. Move from me when you're extra.